Good evening and greetings from northern New Jersey. I wanted to do a presentation topic that was slightly different from what we really talked about in class, but still kind of on the same genre of polymers. My name's Kyle Lazaro, and currently I'm working for a fiber optic company. And one of the more interesting things that's come up pretty recently is for some of our products that involve very, very high-powered lasers, like we're talking 5 to 10 kilowatts, we have a specialty coating on the outside of the glass for the fiber optic cable, and to keep the power in, or the wave guiding capability, we use a low index coating, which is done by using a very low refractive index you'd often find with fluoropolymers. And which brings me to the topic I'm going to present is, in the news I've been finding stuff fairly recently about PFC contamination in human blood. And this is kind of a concern because it really is in a huge population. We're talking about 98% of people in the United States have some trace amounts. We're talking BPP amounts of PFC contamination in their blood. And this could really mean things like PFOA or PFOS. And you'll find them in a lot of different places, like, for instance, in carpet treatments to keep them from being non-stained, or sometimes you'll find it in like new upholstery. Those are like the two biggest ways you can get it. There are other ways too, like microwave popcorn bags are usually have a nonstick liner, which is usually PFOA, and even some cookware has it. That's considered a little bit less dangerous since there's less of a chance you'll actually ingest it because you have to heat it up pretty hot in order to get in your body. But it's been a concern for a very long time. We've knew about this since the 90s, and there's some evidence that DuPont and 3M actually knew about that PFCs have been in human blood for quite some time now. With further ado, I'm going to get to the presentation. So the article I found was in EWG, which is Environmental Working Group, which is actually set up by the EPA, but it's kind of a different entity. It's their nonprofit organization that they set up, and it's from the last year, May 1st, 2015. And the article title is PFC Contamination, No Place to Hide. And it's part of the Poison Legacy, which is a kind of a series of articles that EWG does where they talk about things that have gone wrong in the environment. This is a pretty big one. We're talking about something that is pretty much in most water sources, kind of across like the very modern industrial world, which is really scary. And the overall impact of this is it's just a very big health and safety issue. It's in a lot of people's blood, and we know that it probably has some bad health effects. I'm not really going to exactly speculate what they are. I'm just going to say what they could be, because that's kind of up for debate, and I think there's a lot of big companies with a lot of power that would definitely debate me on that. So what the article really talks about is they're measuring the amount of PFC contamination in human blood. So they're basically they're either sampling blood or they're sampling umbilical cord tissue from newborn babies to see what the PFCs look like inside the blood. So when they usually test blood, it'll show up as C8, which is kind of the chemical misnomer for the PFOA, I think. And the problem with these in general, like the PFCs, especially like PFOA, which is the one I've been talking about at work, it stands for perfluorooctanoic acid, or caprylic acid. And the problem with that is caprylic acid is also something that's found in goat's milk. And the problem with that is that it's water soluble. When something is water soluble and also a fluorocarbon, it's kind of like putting two opposites together. Like, a lot of times you want your fluorocarbons or your surfactants to be non-water reactive, and they made it a water reactive surfactant. And basically, that really becomes a problem because it's something that shouldn't be able to enter into your blood, but now kind of has the ability to do so. And it stays in your blood. And the estimate of the half-life of this stuff, we're talking about roughly 5 years. There's been tests which some say it's shorter, some say it's probably 5 years. And they first noticed it with a couple of lawsuits going on with DuPont's Washington Works plant, which is in the Mid-Ohio Valley. And what they were doing is they were doing blood tests of workers, and they're actually finding C8 or the PFOA inside some of the workers' blood at fairly high levels. We're talking about like 200 ppb, which would then stay there for years. And you're kind of wondering probably is why is this still going on? And the thing is, it really is being phased out. It's something we do consider, somewhat of a problem just because it's everywhere now. And because of this, we want to kind of start further cracking down on PFC contamination. So starting with, I think the biggest law was passed in 2002 to really crack down on PFCs. And it's saying that really can't use it in carpet treatments anymore. And the hope is that by doing this, it'll kind of relieve the burden or how much is in the environment, and hopefully over time it'll start going down. So if you take a look at the chart, you'll actually see once it starts to hit around like 2000 or 2002, it starts really peaking down. And the same study has been doing for people's blood in Norway as well as the United States. And we think there are, like I said, there are probably some real health effects. We can't really say, if it's really causing it, but it probably is causing a whole plethora of stuff like, cancer, probably ulcers, thyroid disease, hypertension, things like that. So hopefully this raises some awareness of what's going on with PFCs, and doesn't really scare anyone, but hopefully just raises some awareness, and maybe will cause someone to actually look it up or ask questions about it, because even though for all the good that polymer does for us, there is probably some bad. All right, take care. Thank you.